need to get a real cosmic celestial being to play Thanos, or I won't believe it. Hello, and Excelsior. I'm Craig from the LSTNT Podcast Network, and I'm here to introduce to you the newest member of the family, Snick Snick. That's right, this is an all-new podcast on which we discuss all things comic books. Mostly we will be covering superhero movies and TV series, but also anything related to comics, including news and noteworthy rumors. Tonight, issue number 0, we have a conversation on a handful of current topics, such as Avengers Infinity War, the new unnamed DC Films imprint for standalone DC flicks, the different cinematic Jokers, and the potential of Leonardo DiCaprio playing the lead in a Joker origin picture. Next time, biff, pow. This pod might be more organized, but could also get more vulgar, silly, and maybe a tad inappropriate, like our other podcasts. But this episode is pretty tame, actually. So, Spider Friends, without further ado, hosted by Art, Craig, and Dante, universally speaking.
So we've been talking about movies.
Marvel,
everything's comic related, I think, in the conversation that we're doing.
Yeah. I guess comic book movies.
Yeah.
And shows,
yeah.
I guess, or yeah.
I mean, we started.
I just always feel like I can't really be an authority on like comic books themselves.
But I feel like you have a great opinion.
But I have
you have a great opinion
about the ones I've.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, you might not have read the comic books, but you have an opinion about the movies that you've seen.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the most important thing, because I guarantee you that there are people out there. Yeah, we're live. We're live. So it's me, Craig, and Dante, and we're just kind of, I don't know, it's conversation. Craig and I just had like a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
This is the
outro to a conversation.
Yeah, this is the 0 episode, I guess.
Yeah.
Many more to come.
About what you think is going to happen in the Marvel universe.
I guess in the MCU.
Yeah. I think it spawned from our conversation about Wolverine.
Well,
and how
it did, but then we went into a deep dive on Joker, the Joker in movies.
So is this kind of just like predictions and thoughts?
But it's become, we got into, like the MCU and where it is right now and going forward. And how...
I think you should be on this side to be mic'd up.
Yeah. Okay. They killed one expendable character that I think made sense that... I mean, I loved the character.
We're talking Marvel? We're talking...
Yeah.
No, and that's something
but
I thought was like...
expendable. I think Hawkeye would obviously make sense to kill him off emotionally he doesn't really fit the spectacle of all the other characters.
Well, I feel like it fit the idea that these like conglomerates were like, okay, well, we're battling our Quicksilver against Fox's Quicksilver.
Yeah,
and
strange that even happened that
we
way.
Can't have him for that long, so if we can keep Hawkeye, we'll keep Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But I thought it would have been a lot more intriguing if they would kill Hawkeye, and then in this Avengers 3, kill off Vision, kill off Quicksilver, and have Scarlet Witch have a psychic break that would bring all that back.
Well, that would be interesting.
Because that could be a reset to introduce the 4th movie, right?
I mean, they could maybe still do that. Because like you said, it makes a lot of sense for Vision. I mean, like we were saying, basically the second we saw Vision in the movies, or even before we saw Age of Ultron, it was kind of like, oh, they're introducing Vision, and it has something to do with the Mind Gem.
Yeah,
so he's going to die. Obviously,
for sure.
Because we know Homeboy's going to get the gauntlet and
probably
get all the gems.
Josh Brolin's going to rip it from his head.
Yeah, Brolin will go up there.
Kali Ma style.
Temple
of Doom style.
Thanos. Thanos. He's going to go up to Mikey.
Shout out to Josh Brolin for Cable, though, because I'm liking the way he looky.
And for Goonies.
All right, that too. And Mod Squad. And Invisible Man.
Yeah, how many is it that he plays Cable and Thanos?
Because he's a boss tycoon.
That's crazy.
CGI, baby.
Yeah, I don't think it'll like fuck with me. Like, oh wait, he's this guy. No. He's that. I mean, they're different movie universes.
It's not believable.
And one of them, he's gonna be this. It's not believable. Wait, he can't be Thanos.
As he takes a rib, it's
Wait, he can't be Thanos.
He can't be Cable. He's a giant purple alien.
They need to get a real cosmic celestial being to play Thanos.
Like somebody,
or I won't believe it.
Like somebody who has the. What about somebody who has the power
I need a
cosmic?
method actor.
The Power Cosmic?
Isn't that a Fox property?
Is that like your band?
Oh yeah, no, my band, the Power Cosmic. It's a math rock band. It's a shoegazer.
That'd be a good band name, yeah.
But yeah, I just remember I had an uncle. My uncle Bobby was like, oh,
Chris Bobby.
Like I got
I
got Chris Bobby.
Shout out to Nadine.
Shout out to Dirty Nads. Shout out to Jack.
Jack.
But I got into comics at like an early age, and my Uncle Bobby was like, "Oh, what do you know about the Power Cosmic?"
Oh my god!
I was like,
and take this tab
you didn't
LSD.
know. You didn't know it had anything to do with comics.
No, not at all. I had no idea of like any cosmic element.
Did your eyes
Marvel.
immediately like dart around the room for like a way out?
Oh yeah, because he pinned me into a corner for sure. No, I remember me and my siblings. We had got like the first issue of Jim Lee's first run of X-Men.
Oh shit!
Like X-Men 1. That was that expanded 4-issue cover that he had done. And I was just enamored by, like, to me, to this day, Jim Lee is the comic book artist.
Oh, wow. I like his brother, Stan.
Stan the Man Lee is pretty dope,
too. His little brother. Younger brother, Stan.
But my uncle was just like, the Power Cosmic. He's like, the Silver Surfer. So then I got into the Silver Surfer, and that, like, fucking blew my fucking mind. That whole thing with Galactus.
That's the Power Cosmic?
Like,
Silver Surfer?
Yeah, he got the power of Galactus. So you got the Power Cosmic.
Yeah,
the Power Cosmic. You got the Power Cosmic. Yeah. That's my Seinfeld. That's my Seinfeld impression.
You got the Power Cosmic.
There's cum on the pillow. What episode was that? Shout out to Nadine again.
Cum on the pillow. Elaine.
But yeah, like, so with these movies,
has Putty ever come on the pillow?
They're getting more and more epic.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like the best job.
Come on the pillow like that?
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
But I feel like the best job that Marvel has ever done was Captain America 2: Winter Soldier. I think that's my prime time Marvel
I still haven't
movie.
seen a lot of.
I love Winter Soldier, bro.
I mean, I like comedic movies.
That's my Space Jam.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We're not talking about movies about like stand-up comic specials.
Oh, I was way off.
Because when you said comic movie.
All right, let's just stop right there, and we'll take.
But that was like such a.
So your favorite comic movie is Eddie Murphy Raw?
Oh, wow.
That's not what we're talking about.
So we're derailed at this point.
Yeah.
But I felt like Winter Soldier was like the most Brubaker, like just down and dirty, like spy espionage movie.
Yeah.
Which like made it more fun that it wasn't like all these celestial beings and like like Hulks and Gods of Thunder.
I wanted it like
it was
when
tight.
I'm going to see Captain America, like it should be kind of.
Hey Dante, can you more audibly yawn into the microphone? I feel.
But
like
it should feel like a soldier, special agent.
Yeah, it should feel like
mission. He's
like
on a mission. It's not.
It should
like
feel tits,
like magical quest or anything like that.
It should feel vision.
Tits. And then like,
it shouldn't feel like a bogus journey.
Bucky was.
It should be more of like an excellent adventure.
I like how Bucky was set up in the first one, and doesn't he like fall out of the helicopter? And somehow
it's like a train. It's like it's
it was a train. That's right. Yeah.
And like
that was fucking cool though. And then I was just like I don't know, when I saw it, the first Captain America, I was just like, that was just a good like movie scene. Like I felt like I wasn't thinking about the whole Bucky Barnes storyline when I saw it.
Right. No, most definitely.
It was more like I was kind of seeing it as someone like if my dad saw it or something, he would fucking hate it. But if it was someone that didn't know any of Captain America's backstory,
because it'd
just be this emotional, holy shit, he lost like his best friend.
Because they definitely they misportrayed Bucky from like comic mythos.
Oh, okay.
Right. Like they made Bucky his like older brother type of character, and in the comics, like he's some kid that's
he's
hey,
like a kid, right?
I'm an orphan, and you can train me or whatever. Which might not even necessarily be the right storyline, but that's how I interpreted it. But,
Yeah, and they made it more like an older brother, almost like picked
which
on
was
a little bit.
which I thought
liked
that
it.
I like that more than like it's a kid who's just like, hey, I'm 13.
Yeah, almost like
let's,
Robin.
Like, let's fight Nazis.
Yeah.
I'm 13. I'll
Any
hold
kid's
I'll hold the
story,
machine gun. Like that's
dream.
like
Yeah.
Like I like the idea of it's like, hey, I've always looked out for you. I'm always gonna look out for you. And I feel like that gives so much more drive for Steve Rogers throughout the film franchise. Like when you think about like, oh, this character that you knew went rogue. It's like, well, yeah, he was always my older brother.
Yeah.
Like he's always looked out for me. I'm always gonna look out for him.
He like looks out for him more than, like, you know, the Avengers, or like certainly more than like
most
Shield
most
or
definitely.
the military, or
I love that scene in Cap 3,
which
where
is awesome.
Where
very loyal.
Where Winter Soldier has his arm like stuffed on that vice.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do I know that it's you? And he's like, you used to stuff newspapers in your shoes to make you look taller. Like that was
cool,
like little like anecdotes about like your humanity before you were this like god or icon. Like that's so cool. Like that
And Captain America like wanted that. You know, Steve wanted that. Like, 'cause he's just living this life as it would be so fucking weird because he's not even from that time.
Yeah.
So he's like transported to this time, and they look back at him as like this, you know, character that existed when their grandparents were kids.
And I like that about, I think it's Cap 2, where he like goes through his own memorial like thing, and he's like, this is not what happened.
This is not what happened. Yeah.
Like going back to that country song I showed you earlier, it was like you should have seen it in color.
Yeah.
Like, shout outs to Jamie Johnson though. Dave Thomas showed it to me.
All My Exes Live in Texas by Garth Brooks.
I think you guys changed my mind.
Or whoever the fuck sings that song.
Watch Captain America Part 2.
You're gonna go out to the theaters and watch it.
I haven't seen Part 3 yet. I gotta see Part 2.
Dude. Watch them out of order.
Yeah, please. I want you to be most like discombobulated by this storyline. But like, I don't know how I feel about Cap 3, where they like make Winter Soldier be the executioner of Tony Stark's family.
Whoa!
Like
what?
That? Like sorry, Dante.
Spoilers.
Sorry. Hey, 3 years later, this motherfucker.
Spoilers.
I still gotta go back and watch. Part 2.
Like I didn't like that. Like, because that makes it so much harder for Cap, or not Cap, but Iron Man and Bucky to team up. Because before that, they could have just been like Heimies. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's like it. That's what it is. Like they're never.
So Tony Stark's
they won't be
dad
cool. They won't be cool together.
Got assassinated.
It'll always have that like.
You guys talk for a second. I forgot my cigarettes inside.
It'll always have that weird dynamic.
Tony Stark's dad gets assassinated by Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
How does that like work out? Was it like explosion or something?
He sleeps with Winter Soldier's mom.
Damn,
he gets
dies of a broken heart.
He
That's cruel.
Winter Soldier was like a sleeper agent.
Yeah,
okay.
You know, so he would be woken up
So
with these code words and would like
at the end
of like a Manchurian candidate.
Exactly.
Yeah. So at the end
hear
of
those words, and then they'd say something. They'd be like, you know, are you? What I forget the word he'd say, but they'd be like,
it was like Red Bull.
Would you kindly?
well, they'd say those things, and then they'd be like, are you
nonsense-
ready to accept the mission or something? He'd just be like, he'd say a certain like affirmative or something.
But it was like
and then
nonsense.
Know, he's ready.
It was nonsensical terms.
Yeah, before that, to engage him.
So it wouldn't just go on automatically, or
No, he'd be almost just like have no memory of anything. He'd be just like a he just
like
kind of
blank
just
slate of
blank
what
slate of a
happened.
person.
Because they would
constantly
constantly give him like shock therapy to like wipe his mind.
Yeah.
And so like at the end of Cap 2, or right before the end of Cap 2, he runs into Captain America, and Cap's like, Bucky? And like,
that part's
it, like
super cool.
it fucks up the Winter Soldier, because he's like, oh wait, like how does this guy know me? So he goes back to his like subordinates, and he's like, he knew me, he knew who I was.
Yeah.
And they're like, they say some shit, and they're like, do you comply? And he's
That's
like,
what. Yeah,
he's like, yeah, for sure. So they put
And
like
he
a
says,
mouthpiece
like,
back in his jaw,
affirmative or
and then
something.
they set shock therapy to erase that whole part of his memory.
But it like can't fully erase
I mean, you
it,
can
right?
like, how do you erase a loved one?
Oh wow.
Jaffiel?
This is... and we'll be taking your calls.
The quiet
For
storm.
love. Yeah, for love advice from Winter Soldier.
It's 1-800-6969.
And then
69.
I like I like the storyline of that one actor who's been in a few things.
Robert Redford?
Descriptive. No, in Civil War, the like French dude, and he had kind of a nutty, tragic, like dark backstory. And he's really from the comics. I remember him from like one of the cartoons.
Oh,
or something.
Baron von something or whatever.
And he so he
no,
has
I'm
like
I'm getting that cross. I'm getting that cross mixed with Baron von Undervite, which is Baron von Doom.
It's Baron something though.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, no.
I can't remember.
Whatever happens.
But yeah,
Zemo.
that guy. Zemo.
Yeah,
Baron Zemo.
yeah.
Who's
like
he's cool. His
who's
role
supposed
is
to be
cool.
like a Paramount villain for Captain America.
He's
I think it's Captain America.
I think so.
But
yeah.
the whole time throughout Cap 3, he keeps like listening to his phone, you think he's listening to voice messages about like somebody's like, yeah, I can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah.
Me and the kids are hanging out. Your
It's
grandparents
like
are
his wife
here.
and
Like,
kids and- yeah.
this is all chill. And you're like, why the fuck does he keep listening?
Yeah.
I don't think it's even understood that he's listening to
Poor
the
sad
voice.
French boy.
I don't think it's understood that he's listening to voice recordings until the end.
I don't remember if
where you find out that like
I feel like you
his
could
whole-
tell.
I don't think I
was
understood
like-
it until when
He kept
Black Panther's
re-listening
there
too.
at the end,
Is that
and he's like, okay, yeah, these are all voice recordings of like
a loved one that was killed?
like his whole family.
Yeah.
It was his wife, his
Yeah.
kids, and his dad
Yeah.
got killed in the aftermath of Age of Ultron. And Black
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Black Panther's like, well, fuck you. I mean, like, you killed my dad and made me believe it was like this other person who's the Winter Soldier who I've been chasing after the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And the guy's like, well, it doesn't matter anymore. And he cocks
But
a
I
gun.
thought
He cocks a gun
it was-
and puts it against his temple and goes to shoot. And Black Panther puts his like fucking vibranium hand over it.
His vibranium paw.
He's like, you don't get to go that easy.
Don't get to go that easy, friend. No, he.
That shit was tight though. That little.
But
like,
why was Zemo so against? I thought Winter Soldier killed his family.
Mm-mm.
So what's his beef with Winter Soldier?
It's what happened with the Avengers for Age of Ultron. So that city got dropped and it leveled all the cities surrounding.
Yeah.
So his family got killed due to what happened, the beef that Ultron had with Iron Man and the Avengers.
Yeah, but why does he care about Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier was just a tool to get the Avengers against themselves.
That's what it is.
Because he
That's
finds
right.
out that Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. And that's when
Spoilers.
that's when Martin
right.
what's his name from Ali G in The Office?
I thought you were going to say Martin Mole.
Freeman?
Martin Freeman.
Martin Mole.
He's like
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman's
Martin
like,
Mole from Roseanne.
he's like at the end he's like interviewing Zemo.
I love Martin Freeman.
And he's
that,
for
that
sure,
snarky American accent.
No
he
matter
has.
what, Martin
he's
Freeman is
one of
always
my
crushing
favorite.
it.
Yeah.
But he tells Zemo, he's like, well, you did all this shit and you didn't break up anything. Like, you didn't do shit. And Zemo just says, didn't I? Because at that point, like, Captain America and Iron Man are split apart.
duking it out.
They're no longer friends.
Yeah.
So the Avengers
longer
are
enemies.
disassembled. This is
Yeah.
the Avengers disassembled.
If you will. If you must.
That's brilliant. Like, that's pretty tight, though, dude. I fucking...
And he's like, Cap, that shield doesn't belong to you.
Yeah,
And
that
it
was...
just
He
clank,
goes,
clank.
that was my dad's shield.
Yeah.
That was my dad's shield.
Dad.
My dad
My
made
dad's.
it. My dad made it
My
for you.
dad.
And
It's
Captain
been
America,
played by 2 actors.
and then Cap just goes, clunk.
Clink,
Take it,
clunk.
bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And then he picks up his one-armed friend and walks out of the door.
Dude.
Take
And
this arm and take this shield, and I just beat your ass, and I'm going to leave.
Take thy arm and take thy shield, but you can't take thy soul.
Is that Shakespeare?
Yeah.
I thought it was Shakespeare.
Yeah. It's Art Spear. All right. We
Oh
can keep
my
going from here.
God.
But
Billy Shakes.
Art shakes too. When don't have his drinky. But
Oh my God.
Jack, I'm excited for Black Panther.
Soldier, Spider friends.
I'm excited for Black Panther. How do you feel about that?
Gay.
Oh, me too.
No,
Gay
I'm
for
just-
every actor
yeah,
that's in that. Yeah,
in that
I'm-
way,
I'm
definitely.
super hard.
I'm hymied out for it. I'm stoked.
No, everything that I've saw has just been like, I'm in awe. The trailer that I saw, I was like, this is so dope.
Yeah. I love Michael B. Jordan.
I think
Lawrence
it's
Fishburne.
either in the Bill Simmons podcast or in The Watch, they talk about how the director got like free reign because Marvel was just like, we need somebody that can direct this.
And he knocked it out of the park with Creed, which I haven't seen yet, but that got
And
like
he also
rave
directed
reviews.
Fruitvale Station.
Oh, that's right. So it's his third movie with Michael B. Jordan, at least.
And it's B. Jordan as a villain.
Yeah. I saw like a picture of him, or like I think I paused it on the trailer.
Yeah.
He looks pretty fucking cool.
It looks super.
They don't give you like, you don't know what's going on in the trailer, but all the visuals are like amazing. It's
like,
better than I could have imagined.
When I saw Star Trek, I think it was 2. Like the Stark images. Like,
is that the one with Benedict Cumberbatch?
yeah, that's the exact one.
You looked at me.
They called me
Yeah.
God. Austin, you're fine.
That was really smart. They're like, hey, let's bring back this beloved character and not tell anybody that we're going to do it. That's really smart.
Well, they were like, it's this character, not this character.
Yeah.
They were like, it's this
Khan.
Cuddy character.
It's not Khan.
I remember like reading up on Star Trek 2, and I was like,
Really?
oh, are they doing Khan? They're like, no, it's not this guy. It's like this other dude, this other Cuddy character that we plucked from the Star Trek universe. But seeing the Black Panther movie, or trailer, sorry, I kept thinking, I was like, that's so dope that he got creative control to do this Marvel film. Because it's this like relatively like unknown director. I know he did Creed, but before that he did.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
as far as I know, he didn't do a whole lot.
He's still like fresh and new. Yeah.
But Marvel was like, we need somebody to do Black Panther.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can do it.
Yeah.
But I'll do it if you give me free reign.
Yeah.
And what I've seen, I'm enamored by.
Yeah. And I like the dude who plays Black Panther.
Oh, for sure.
That's the one with
Chadwick.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. I like the guy that plays what's it? Not Reek. What's his name? Fucking Gollum.
Oh, fucking Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
He's in
is
Civil
running
War
the
also.
circus.
Him and Martin Freeman are just two like amazing actors that have these like little roles that you can tell are just seeds for they're going to be amazing, like bigger roles later.
Would you call them character actors?
There's that Nutty Run the Jewels song in the Black Panther trailer.
Oh yeah, that song is.
I think
tight.
it just like makes that trailer. I mean, like you were saying, the visuals.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anything else. It kind of reminds me of how far out Fifth Element was.
Did you
can't like really get a grip on it because it's
yeah,
so,
it's like this.
Well, I
new,
love
like,
that.
aesthetic.
But
I love
I
that.
dig that. Yeah,
I love that
But
because
it's all consistent.
It's supposed to be a
Yeah.
city that's like
Within
beyond technology of any other realm.
Yes,
but like
almost like self-contained.
Yeah. Well, no,
Like,
they're
we developed
like,
everything
like,
ourselves without outside help.
That's the idea. It's like everybody's like,
Yeah.
oh, Africa doesn't have this technology.
Well, yeah, it's like
but there's this like
Atlantis, right?
there's
Or
where there's this city
something
that's
like
beyond
that.
the technology of the outside world. So it's like the way that they've done it and the way that they shot that was so amazing. Thor 3 and Black Panther, I think I'm most excited for, even more than like Avengers.
Really?
Yeah.
I always just get a nerd boner for Avengers. It's
I
like,
get no,
it's
I'm
still
the
just
same way.
is like such an amazing spectacle to me. Just as
Yeah,
simple
no.
as all those characters being in one movie.
I'm the same way. Like when
I think it's because we were talking about this before. I think it's because they established them on their own so well, where they didn't. None of them need the other movies.
they give motive to every character.
Yeah.
And then what they do is they compile them.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately is like what to me that's what DC doesn't have.
Yeah.
DC's just like, well, we got characters, so
They're
let's
they're just starting. Like I feel like
They're good.
I
mean,
hope they kind of have a master plan.
I think if they were to follow the
it's gonna
track that Marvel
work.
does, everybody would be like, oh, like you're just copying Marvel. So
Right.
I think that's
So
why
they
they're
made a
like,
point
well,
not
let's do
to.
this instead.
But maybe the one thing they should have kind of copied was like you were saying, start off with just do Superman, do Wonder Woman, do a Batman, do a Flash,
well,
do Cyborg,
they did that with
do
Superman.
Green Lantern, and then do Justice League.
Well, I feel like if they had done that trajectory, everybody would have been like, "Oh, you're just following the
Totally.
the template that Marvel had created."
And that's why they did.
What I do like is that they did Man of Steel, which was a super original story. I don't give a fuck about what people say about Superman. in that movie.
Man of Steel.
I loved it. I love that.
I like it a lot.
People are like, well, Superman's always supposed to be greater than us. Like, so he shouldn't have snapped Zod's neck, right?
Yeah.
But for me, what I loved about Superman in that story was that Superman always had that humanity of, like, I don't know what to do with my power.
Yeah.
I don't know how to control this. And his dad was just like that scene where he's a little kid and these kids are bullying him.
Yeah.
And they push him to the ground.
Yeah.
And he grips that bar and crushes it.
It bends it, yeah.
And
wrinkles it.
And then his dad shows up and he's like, scat. And his son's just like, I don't know.
They're like, holy shit, Kevin Costner, can I get your autograph?
Well, like, the idea that, like, a kid grows up with these powers that he knows he can wreck other people with.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't know how to deal with it, how to, like, navigate it. I love the idea that that story of Superman learns what he should be in this, in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Like, and people say, like, oh, like, Superman would have found a way to do this, or that.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that he dealt with that humanity and was like the best thing for humans.
Because it's like that's how he gets there.
Yeah, the best thing for humanity is that this guy cannot exist in this world.
Yeah.
Because Zod would never have stopped. There's like what
and he was literally like less than a second away from killing a bunch of people with his laser eyes.
Like it was like I think it was a family or whatever.
It was like a little family, and so he had like a second to just be like, "Oh, I gotta break this dude."
Yeah, I have to choose between people that are alien to me or killing the guy that's fighting for my race.
Mm-hmm. And Zod tells him, you know, like your weakness is these humans, Clark.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna murder
Cal.
everyone.
Oh yeah.
In front of you.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
To punish you.
Yeah.
So he gives him the situation.
He goes beyond
where it's like he forces Superman's hand, but I kind of like the idea of that where there's like that human equation to everything where and he's just figuring this shit out.
Yeah,
you know?
it's him going on this journey.
He doesn't
like
really
he learns
know.
how to fly.
He's not perfect
within this time sphere.
Yeah, right.
And like.
And I like how they do it. It's really based in, like, jumping.
Yeah.
That's
do you guys want to head inside?
I mean, we're doing this podcast.
Oh, yeah, we can keep it on there.
But what I did like was that they had showed that. Because when you think about, like, Superman's resources at that time, in the comic books, he could send him to, like, the Phantom Zone. Because he had capabilities to do that. But at the time that he was fighting Zod, he had no other escape from Zod. He couldn't, like, put him in handcuffs.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, and Zod, like, started out as, like, you know, I'm trying to keep this, like, bloodline going.
Which is a noble cause.
Which is a noble cause. And
but
then
it's like, at what?
Goes, and it's at any cost.
Yeah.
And then he goes all the way to the point, like Dante said, where he's just like, and furthermore, I'm going to wipe out, like, each and every
first of all,
human or, like, life force, you know, one by one. So that is, like, pure evil villainy, right?
I don't think people fully think about, like, Superman just learned his powers.
Yeah. I like
and he doesn't know what to do with Zod.
No.
Even if he could, he had no means to restrain Zod because Zod's at the same level of strength as Superman.
Yeah.
And Zod, like Dante said, like he's just like, I'm going to murder.
Didn't it pretty much come down to, like, the entire humanity and Earth, the entire humanity being wiped out and Earth being, like, ruined and then reborn? And, I forget what they call it, terraformed? To become basically the same type of planet as Krypton. Yeah. It was either that or kill Zod. Yeah. So, I mean, there wasn't, like, a lot of choice there.
Like, that's chill that you don't like the outcome of it. But, like, in the environment and world that Superman was in this movie, he only had one choice.
Right. And I don't know if I would have, like, liked to see him, like, kind of restrain him somehow, fly him up into space, and, like, put him back in the Phantom Zone somehow.
That would not have been...
that would not have been very cool or satisfying.
And it would not have been, like, according to how the movie had flown.
True.
You know what I mean?
It wouldn't have fit, no.
Superman was in this impossible situation where he's not about killing anybody. No. Where he's fought his whole life to restrain himself. Yeah. And he has to make this...
like a hero, a warrior. So doesn't that mean, like, not only saving the good guys, but like defeating the bad guys.
Right.
Yeah,
like he had to make that split decision.
To make that awful choice.
Yeah, because he was like, if he had the power, he would never have killed Zod.
Right.
But it was Zod was like, I'm intent on destroying everything that you love.
And I feel like they make a point of like, he would never kill. Like you said, the whole thing is of him as a kid being like, I could have just like backhanded one of them and his head would have gonked the other four and they would all been knocked out in one swipe.
He could have,
but he didn't. He's just like, back off, guys.
What is like reading like Catcher in the Rye when he like gets like pushed down? Like,
you're all phonies. Get away from me.
But like,
I'm gonna go to a bar as an underage kid and order a drink.
That scene where that guy like pours the beer on his head and tries to shove him. And he's like, dude,
and he doesn't even like budge.
Like they're just like hassling some like waitress, and he's like you need to stop. And then they're like, what you gonna do about it? So they pour the beer on his head and shove him. Yeah. And the guy gets pushed back from trying to shove
fucking Clark.
That was such a dope scene.
Adonis
and then you see him. He's like, you can see what's going on.
David.
And this goes to the actors too, right?
Michelangelo's
David.
David.
So you can see what's going on through. What's his name? Like Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
Like you can, he portrays like, I could level you.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right.
I could level you, mate.
I'm just gonna walk away from you.
Yeah.
And then he throws those spikes into his truck.
He goes
like that's
aggro. Like when you're in freshman year and you turn on Linkin Park and you just like start hitting a punching bag or something.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Or like Crazy Town, like either way. Either way.
All Star.
Come, my lady. What?
Oh my god. And he like twisted up the truck and then put like
spikes
telephone poles through it, like impaled the truck.
Yeah, he impales the
which is a little
with the trees,
it's like over the top and a little like emo, kind of like angsty or whatever.
It's a little Spider-Man thing.
No, but it's kind of cool.
No, but you think about the humanity of a man. How far can you push somebody?
See, I think that's the whole
and that was
thing
like,
is the humanity and the imperfections.
And beforehand, I hated Superman stories because there's no what does he have to be afraid of?
Yeah.
But like the idea that he's afraid of letting loose is probably the best storyline you could tell me. And this was a good. Man of Steel did a great job. Of like this like the idea of like somebody being born and then being raised by two Kansas like a Kansas couple.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden he just automatically is just like black and white. That's disinteresting. That's the opposite of interesting to me. But the idea that somebody grows and learns how to be and act around human beings
and
that.
He's taught with like classic values. What's supposed to be.
And the idea when he's like, Dad, don't go into that hurricane. And he's like, don't come for me.
Yeah.
He's like, I know that you can save me, but don't, because I'm afraid for what it means for you. So like he learns humanity through sacrifice of his parentage.
A little bit like they maybe could have illustrated that point better, maybe.
I mean, they probably could have done a better job, but I feel like they did a good job of
I got the point of it.
Yeah.
And like Costner's acting and
Costner wrecked it.
Vibed it.
I loved it. I loved every second of Costner.
Yeah. And I like Diane Lane too.
Oh, for sure. I felt like the plot.
What did you say?
That was unfortunate. That whole thing was unfortunate. And then when she gets rescued by Batman, and she was like, "Oh yeah," he was like, "I'm a friend of your son."
I'm a friend of your son.
And she was like, "Yeah."
He doesn't even talk like that.
He's like, "I can tell by the cape."
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh. Come on.
Yeah.
How much more cheeseball can you get?
It's a popcorn moment right there.
It's a very popcorn moment.
Speaking of popcorns, check out the podcast by Sacramento Popcorn
Surprise.
Check it out.
Or keep listening to us. Either way, we're just a couple cats talking tang. So
yeah, check out our new Movies from Memory.
Oh, Movies from Memory is pretty legit. You want to talk about the Joker?
Good. Oh yeah, I was reading. I skimmed the article. Said that Leo might do it.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Or is that bullshit?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you heard about all that, but they're talking about they're creating. They haven't officially announced it, but they're creating a new imprint, if you will, of DC movies.
Of single shots?
Of, like, basically single shots. I
like that idea.
They could maybe do a sequel, but other than that, they're standalones. They don't relate to each other, and they're not a part of the DCEU cinematic universe.
like that idea.
I really like that idea. I think it makes sense for comic book movies. I wouldn't want to see that in, like, About Schmidt or some, like, you know, every movie to start doing that. But for comic books,
yeah,
that's a
it'd
weird
be hard to
reference.
be like if
It makes a lot of sense for comic books.
If
Well, the
Han
idea-
Solo all of a sudden just had a completely different storyline or something.
Which you
know?
could maybe do that with Star Wars.
But it's
I
also...
kind of like Star Wars keeping everything canon.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
But
I think it kind of
could.
lends well with superheroes. Though.
Yeah,
no, and that's
more
that's a
yeah,
market
yeah.
that Marvel has not touched that DC could potentially, like, exploit, right?
Yeah.
Like, Marvel's not going to do, like, a single shot.
That's
of
true.
Whatever
Marvel
character. They're all about continuity. So
Like
the
I
idea,
heard-
the idea that
Yeah.
like DC could be like, yeah, like we have this continuity, but there's also this
But
single
we're
shot
also
story.
Gonna put out these stories that people want to see. Like you could do a
And,
Mad Love movie or whatever.
What's his name from Raging Bull is already executive.
Yeah.
He's already executive.
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, he's executive. He's EPing
Yeah.
the Joker movie,
That's what they're saying.
And
Yeah, the
he's
Joker
trying-
origin.
and he's trying to get DiCaprio in on it. And I'm
Yeah.
all hands on deck for that movie.
Yeah.
If they get those two mixed up with that, I think it will overshadow. Not to like take away from Leto. I feel like Leto's design was
That's the only thing
worse
you worry
than his
about
portrayal.
is it being a little confusing that there's two different universes and just that two is if you know Leo DiCaprio is like one of the greatest actors like ever, I think, and he's probably or very well could overshadow Leto's.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's,
it might just always make you just be like, oh, we get the second best Joker.
that. I mean, that's
He'll
definitely
never
fair.
be better.
It's
But I
subjective,
don't think Leto was given the chance to do a great.
I don't
Leto,
think so
a
either.
great
And
I
he could
like
still-
Jared
He
Leto.
could still do Mad Love.
I definitely love.
Which they might.
I like that.
Because
Mad
they're
Love?
talking
What's that?
about
What's Mad
a
Love?
Jared Leto, a Joker Harley Quinn
spinoff, right?
backstory
Oh,
spinoff
that's
kind
interesting.
of like a sort of sequel thing to or prequel to Suicide Squad.
Well, okay,
That's
so
part of the DC.
That
one's part of the universe.
I have
Yeah.
mixed feelings because if, like I said, we had a conversation before we started the podcast
Yeah.
that if Leto, with his Suicide Squad appearance, he got burnt on the side of, like, he got burnt up from that explosion.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah.
like, legitimately, the only thing that I don't like about his portrayal is the Joker is the tattoos.
That's
so
definitely
if-
my biggest
Oh,
problem.
the Hot
too.
Topic tattoos.
The Hot
Yeah,
Topic tattoos.
if the damage is
Damage.
like, I could deal with
I just
everything else
can't
other than
understand
damage
that.
on his forehead, and I don't understand
can't
who
understand.
like okayed that.
I
you know
can't.
what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
so,
how do
Joel Schumacher, Batman?
It is
Robin.
kind of like
Yeah,
that.
and that,
Like,
like-
how are there not there had to be so many people that are just like, man, you are missing the mark. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get Joker. Start over.
Yeah.
Like, stop and go read some comic
Because
books.
if it was,
you're not understanding Joker. Watch 5 episodes of the animated series.
and it's shitty to say, but like you think about like tattoos, like some like
Yeah.
like when you see a tattoo, you're like, oh, somebody got that tattooed.
Right.
So you have to think about the Joker sitting down and was like, I want damaged on my head,
and right here on my forehead.
like
Can
on my
you do
forehead,
that?
if that's chill or
Damaged.
whatever. But like his portrayal as the Joker was pretty good. I liked it a
Yeah.
lot because it wasn't done like that.
Yeah.
like in cinema.
There were some parts I kind of didn't like as much, and like you said, a lot of his look, but or at least like it was mostly the tattoos, but some of the gangster stuff was a little bit much.
I
And the
lo-
no shirt under the duster,
Yeah, that
like
that was
purple
wonky.
duster. It was a little
But like
too much.
there was also a
I
lot
kind
that
of liked his car,
there was a lot that I did like too.
and I liked like his hair and his like face and stuff looked cool, other than the tattoos.
he looked like the Joker.
He looked like the Joker for
minus those
yeah.
tattoos.
Yeah.
He would have been not my favorite. I'm not going to say
No,
that.
no.
But he probably would have been the most comic accurate
Yeah.
Joker without those tattoos.
And there were parts that I did like him in. And I was even kind of like...
yeah, I love that chase scene in the
Yeah.
purple Lamborghini.
Oh, yeah.
Where Batman's on the hood.
Batsy. And he's like, Yeah, I love that.
And like I said, we had this conversation before, but like the idea that like Leto like went out in public and would just like try out different
Yeah.
laughs and see what got the worst reaction.
Dante does that walking down the street, he said.
Well, that's when he's jerking it. When he's
It's
edging
true. It's damn
It's weird,
true.
but
But there's, I mean, yeah.
Van
There's
Damme.
there's a like Suicide Squad left a lot wanting, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
To bring an ensemble piece and not give individual stories is really hard to do.
I still feel like
I know Captain Boomerang. Where you
they
at?
have the opportunity.
I love Captain
I feel like
Boomerang.
they didn't destroy it. I was gonna say kill it, but I mean like in a bad way. They didn't like destroy the franchise.
I think
I
the
feel like they have
Suicide
a lot of room to redeem themselves.
Yeah. Oh no, most
because
definitely.
it wasn't like a horrible movie. Plus, financially, it was extremely successful. So even if the next one's gonna suck, they're gonna make it. You know, so
And Harley Quinn
it's
is
gonna
now
get money too.
An established character.
And
Deadshot
people love
is
her.
a character.
Yeah.
One
You
thing I
have
thought
the
was
Joker,
cool.
Which,
You have a Joker that
say what you want about
I
Leto,
think-
but people will, if he's in
And that's
another
why-
DC movie, people will go see
I
it.
think they
That's-
can write the shit.
And
yeah.
that's why
definitely.
people went to see Suicide Squad, because they were like, "Oh, let me see the Joker."
Yeah.
And I love the Joker.
Yeah.
Like I said, I loved everything about him other than that like facial tattoo.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like such like tap out like
Hot
tool.
topic,
It just
hot
seemed like a
topic.
tool tattoo.
Yeah.
To have.
Yeah. Like he's really into Evanescence.
Yeah,
type of
like
thing.
he would be
Can't
yeah.
wake up.
Wake me up inside.
But we were talking also about like how he had other cool tattoos, like on his like inner arm he had that Robin
Oh.
with the arrow going through
Dude,
it.
I never knew about that.
Like that is tight. Like
That's
I
cool.
like the idea that he's like, I want to commemorate killing Batman's like
yeah.
son,
Boyfriend.
essentially.
What a shit.
This isn't 1960. We're not writing about.
Old chum. Old cum.
But
Come on, old chum.
yeah. If they get rid of that tattoo, I'm all. If they get rid of that one damaged tattoo, which was really my only like.
Yeah. Like we were talking about it, and like I'm sure you could come up with an explanation and like kind of not have the tattoos or have less of the tattoos. I think you could almost get away with just being like,
It never happened.
He doesn't have him in this movie.
Like if
he
if
doesn't
that's
have
the
him
type of
anymore.
Joker to
He
get
did
a
for one
tattoo on his
movie,
forehead,
sorry.
it could also easily be like, yeah, just got like a temporary.
Yeah.
Or took
You know what I
acid
mean?
to it.
Yeah.
Just scrubbed it off
Yeah.
with a toothbrush and
Yeah.
who knows what else. Like,
Because
Yeah.
I love Jared. I love Leto's like portrayal.
Would you die for me?
Like I liked where he's like, ooh, yeah, like he would just
Yeah.
like do like little like subtle things and some like psychotic like.
And his eyes are always like bulging out of his fucking head, like super wide open.
There was a
I like
description
that.
in a comic book once. I think it was for Death in a Family or Death of a Family. The one where
Yeah.
like Joker was missing his face.
Oh,
and
really?
He like stapled it back on his head.
Oh, wow.
Or
Into a smile.
Like Batman talks about the eyes of the Joker, and like that his eyes are always like pin dots of blackness. Like his eyes will never like widen. The irises will never widen or close. He's always beady-eyed.
The pupils or whatever?
The pupils are
Or like
always
little
pins.
Whoa, that creeps me the fuck out, bro.
And, like,
was that Scott Snyder?
Did you get? Yeah, it was Scott Snyder. Did you guys ever read Death of a Family?
No.
No.
So that's in the more recent Scott Snyder, like New 52?
Yeah.
Oh my
Everything
God,
that was
that I've
one of
read
the.
that he's
That was
done
we
is-
started
that
the
was
run
one of
and-
the best
Yeah.
like runs of Batman I had ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
Because it
The
starts
whole
off.
Court of the Owls was amazing.
It starts off
I
because the GCPD has Joker's face in their lockup, like his evidence,
His actual face?
his actual like carcass face,
Oh, wow.
and Joker shows up, and like
Oh,
lights
wow.
turn off, and he's like, ha ha ha, like I'm here, like I'm going to
Yeah.
kill you, like you all are stupid, like this and that, and it
You're so
starts.
stupid.
Yeah, I'm okay. You're so stupid.
You're stupid.
But it starts off like a horror movie where somebody's like, "Oh, I think I see him," and then they get muffled out.
Oh, wow.
And then the next person's like, "Oh, where's he at?" And they get muffled out.
Yeah.
So he's killing all these. He's destroying the JCPD,
Yeah.
and then he steals his face back and like staple buckles it. And there's a point where he has like a leather band that's like attached and stapled to his face, that's wrapped around his head.
I hope he changes that and cleans it every once in a while.
And it's literally like Hannibal Lecter.
Infected.
It's like Hannibal Lecter when he wears that guy's face. Only it's his own face, and it's stretched over.
Hello, Clarice.
It's stretched over his own face, dude. It's such a creepy horror story.
It looks a lot like.
He said he can smell
Alec
your
Baldwin
cunt.
in Beetlejuice. Remember when he
stretches
his skin
where
back?
it's like
super tight.
Yeah.
And it's just freaky. All the proportions to the Joker face and mask are just fucked.
And I love it because there's a point to where the whole Bat family is like questioning Batman, like, oh no, like he knows who you are because like all this different shit's happening, and then it goes into a dialogue. It goes into a dialogue where like Batman's like, no, like I know that he's not, and then it goes like bloop 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 bloop, like memory or whatever. And it's Bruce Wayne. It's Bruce Wayne visits the.
We're not worthy.
He visits the Joker, and he's like, yeah, I'm fucking Batman. But Joker's like staring at the wall, like not looking at Batman, like he has his back to Bruce Wayne, and he's disinterested in who the identity of Batman is. He just wants to torture Batman.
Oh wow!
It was such a brilliant.
Oh, so then Batman's almost kind of like getting frustrated that he won't just look.
Yeah, no, he's. Yeah, and then now in the new continuity, there's like 3 Jokers, which I don't understand, but that's on that Marvel tip. But on that note, this might be the end of this like 2-hour podcast. I don't know how long we went.
Strange conversation.
Did you guys have a name for this?
Come here, I'll tell you about it.
Oh, okay.
Let's turn this darn
I
mic
kind of
off
like that.
and
Come here, I'll tell you about it.
All right.
Is this going to be like a comic book
I kind of like
movie / TV?
I think it could be something where we just delve into comic books. We delve into like
TV
animated series
and
and movies. Like,
and there's in the greater realm of comic books.
You can kind of there's just so much to talk about and also reference.
Yeah,
where we're talking about kind of like geek culture or whatever.
Yeah, like the DC universe and the Marvel universe.
Yeah, because they got that Hellboy movie coming out.
Yeah,
with the dude from Stranger Things.
I am like dumbfounded by the casting. I can't understand what
the
idea.
Did you see that movie that Guillermo del Toro is coming out?
I like that guy, but I guess I just don't know anything about Hellboy. But I'm trying to understand.
No, I love Hellboy, but more than Hellboy, there's a character called Lobster Johnson, who is like.
That was Dante's stage name at that club that he was dancing at or whatever he said?
So ridiculous. But
serving cocktails and dancing on tables or something like that?
He sounds so ridiculous, but he's he's like the Shadow. And every time he finds a villain, like he has this like iron palm that like will highlight a claw, and he'll like brand enemies. Like it's so.
That's
dope.
In the Hellboy universe.
Yeah. So like there's.
Will he be the villain?
It's one of the first volumes of Hellboy. But he comes across the ghost of Lobster Johnson, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were always a myth."
Yeah.
And Johnson's like in this like nutty like Nazi like shut down like blown up like asylum, and so like Hellboy finds out that there's something going on in this spot, and he tries to infiltrate it, and then there's like people show up, and then Lobster Johnson helps like fight them. And Hellboy's like, holy shit, like, you're a myth. And then it's Hellboy saying this. Yeah. He's like, oh, I thought you were just, like, something that didn't exist. And he's like, well, I want to say that he was like, oh, well, I really don't. But that's not what happened. But you find out that Lobster Johnson's a ghost. And then you find out that there's this other fucking whole storyline with Lobster Johnson being a legit, like, crime-fighting, like, shadow-type character.
That's nutty.
That fights, like...
Are they going to do that shit in the new movie?
Dude, so Guillermo del Toro's like new movie is coming out, and it's about like a purple.
It's called Heaven Boy.
It might as well be called Abe Sapien.
Abe Sapien.
Did you ever watch the original Hellboy movies?
No.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
But so there's a character called Abe Sapien, and he's like a blue aquatic. Like he breathes underwater. He has to have like water gill things like over his neck,
like Kevin Costner has.
Yeah, most definitely. And the creature that Guillermo del Toro comes up with in this, I forget the name of the title of the movie, but
he fucks Gene Triplehorn.
It's essentially like an Abe Sapien story.
Yeah.
Like, they do little things like...
You're a homo sapien, Dante,
All right, guys. I guess we're over it. But I want to get through this. So, Abe Sapien and Hellboy loves eating, like, spoiled eggs.
This guy.
All right, so
I'm totally trying.
We're done. We're done.
So he eats what kind of eggs?
Well, it's a blue aquatic like creature.
Yeah.
So that's Abe Sapien, and then that's also the same creature that Guillermo del Toro is developing in this new movie, and then it also like
Benicio's son.
It also eats raw eggs. Like it's just like a direct reference to Abe Sapien.
It's not supposed to be the same thing.
Yeah, but it seems like he didn't get like the character rights.
Reference. Oh, okay.
And he's like, well, I still want to do like a movie about this character, so I'll just do it anyways and just not call it Abe Sapien. Yeah. Like that's what it seems like in the story, but yeah, it's not. It just seems like so outlandish. But
he's an awesome director. Anything he does.
Dude, Pan's Labyrinth changed my life, dude.
I don't really like those kind of movies. I just usually like watch porn instead.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah. I don't have time for those.
So on this note, this is us talking comic core. Craig, Dante, and Mark. If you guys are interested.
Doodles.
Tiddly Bop. If you guys get a chance, listen to Fat Cock Rob and the Tiddly Bops.
Cut up from the cheese.